Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of 247 DIY and the fourth episode of this mini series of getting this lawnmower prepped and ready to be a dedicated snow blowing tractor. Today we're finally going to go ahead and getting everything we need installed to get the snow blower actually mounted up to the front end, so stick around. Alright, so even before I went ahead and purchased the snowblower, I knew after talking to the guy who was selling it on Facebook Marketplace, it didn't come with the brackets. He did take a photo of the serial number or the model number on it, and I was able to find a manual. So I jumped online and all of the brackets needed are still available. Nothing's discontinued or anything like that, so that was good news. So that's when I went ahead and purchased the snowblower, and I ended up going to Sears Parts Direct for most of these because they had everything right in stock. Their prices were very reasonable and the shipping time was good. Unfortunately, a few things ended up being back ordered, but that was just some bolts that may or may not necessarily be necessary to have the exact ones. So I did run a Lowe's. I just got some that should work. They're the right size and thread pitch and all that, just slightly different than the actual Craftsman brand ones. I don't think it should be a problem. So the first thing we need to do is go ahead and install these two brackets here on the, which I think goes kind of like that, on the front frame here of the mower. So the first thing we need to do is remove 4 of these existing bolts in the front end. We need to remove this one, this one, this one, and this one. And actually we don't need to remove this one here. The diagram and the instructions is a little confusing. And so these front brackets is where I ran into the first issue with back ordered parts. This is what they call a thread forming bolt here. Basically it's just kind of a glorified self-tapping bolt, and they're 3/8. The only problem is these are about 3/4 of an inch, and once you add the spacing and the bracket on there, they want about an inch. These just aren't long enough, so the 1 inch 3/8 self-forming bolts are on back order. So all I did was I went to Lowe's and I grabbed some stainless steel 3/8 bolts. These ones that they had that had the nice flange cap on there, they only had in 1.5 inches, so I just chopped those down to about 1 inch so they weren't too terribly long. And then all they want you to do for installation on here is to place a 1/2 inch washer as a spacer for the bracket against the frame, and then a 3/8 inch lock washer over on the outside of the bracket. And we'll just go ahead and repeat that exact same process on the other side. And then here on this lower bolt, we need to install one of these shoulder bolts. And this was a Craftsman part that I did order. Obviously, pretty unique bolt. It wasn't something I was just gonna be able to find at Lowe's. So we've got these, a 3/8 washer and a 3/8 flange nut to go on the back side. And just like before, we'll repeat that exact same process on the other side. All right, so now we're up underneath the footrest on the left-hand side of the tractor, and we need to go ahead and remove this nut here and this carriage bolt that it attaches to so that we can install our hanger brackets. Now there's a left-hand side and a right-hand side. This particular model, the footrest doesn't use a bracket, so there's only one hole. Per the instructions, it's perfectly fine. We're just going to attach it using the rearward-most hole here on the attachment bracket. And we're going to install that using a longer carriage bolt here that I did order. Same problem that we had in the front. It's the exact same thing. We're just going to be replacing the carriage bolt that's there with this one that's a little bit longer. And even though I'm pretty sure that other nut that was on there would have been just fine, the instructions do say to replace it with a 3/8 inch flange nut, so that's what we'll do. Now that's on there, we'll go ahead and repeat it once again on the other side. And then a little bit further back on this bracket, we're going to be removing this rearward bolt. And in its place, we're going to be installing another one of those shoulder bolts. And the head and the shoulder of the bolt will actually extend to the inside of the frame. And just like before, we're replacing it with a 3/8 flange nut. And then we'll jump to the other side. We will do the exact same thing, install another shoulder bolt just like this one. The only difference being there's no bracket on the other side, but there is a carriage bolt and there is a nut that needs to be removed on that side that hold the footrest up. All right, so now we have the actual pulley unit that goes underneath of the tractor. I've already gone ahead and replaced the belt on it. It came with a real old crusty one on it, so I just grabbed another one of these blue Kevlar D&D equipment belts here. I found these a while ago on Amazon. I actually really like them, so I went ahead and used another one on here. And the only other thing I had to do was this bracket here. It was set up for a 46 inch, which utilizes these two holes here. All I had to do was undo the carriage bolts and slide it back and use these two bolts here for the 42 inch deck, which is what this tractor is. So now we just need to go ahead and install our cable clutch the same way that we would do if we were attaching it to the mower deck. So the plastic retainer there for the end of the clutch cable sleeve goes through there. I'm using the same cotter pin that you would use for the mower deck. All right, so just some technical difficulties there. I'm glad I had the instructions because that was actually set up not for the cable pull style clutches. So I just had to turn this back around. It was facing the wrong direction and it was in the wrong holes. And then down here on this little post, we'll add this spacer that I did order. The hook for your cable clutch will go over there. We'll add a 1/4 inch washer and a small cotter pin. You can use the same one that came on your deck. I misplaced mine, so just got this one to go on there, just like that. So then, utilizing these two shoulder bolts that we installed in the rear, and lift this into place. And then rotate it right up. And we can use one of these pins here that I picked up and slide that through. And then using the second hole in the hole that's built into the bracket, fix the pin in place and do the same thing on the other side. All right, so some technical difficulties here. This pulley contacts this bracket here, but when I look through the instructions, this idler pulley is not anywhere in the instructions at all. It just has this idler pulley over here on this side, and then your big flywheel style drive pulley right here. So for now, I'm just gonna remove this pulley and then go from there. It doesn't show it involved in either of the three attachment types because there's rod actuated clutches, there's cable actuated clutches, which this is, and then there's electronic actuated clutches, and there's instructions for all three. Neither one in the diagrams has this pulley right there. So yeah, I'm just gonna remove that pulley because it does contact this bracket, and we'll just see if everything works without that pulley there. And I've also gone ahead and replaced the main drive belt here with another one of those D&D Kevlar belts. If you notice, it's a little bit of a funky setup. You've got the two pulleys on the side and the big pulley, the auger pulley there. The belt comes through with the V facing up, makes a 1/4 inch turn, and then the V faces down as it comes around the top, comes down, makes another 1/4 inch turn, and then the V faces back up. So not super complicated to get it in there, but you do need to just kind of make sure that you line it up properly with just a single 1/4 inch turn here and a single 1/4 inch turn there. We've slid it under the front end of the tractor, and now we can roll the tractor into place. And we're just gonna get these notches here to hook over and latch onto these shoulder bolts that we installed here on these front brackets. A little bit easier said than done. It's not the lightest thing in the world, but eventually you get it lined up straight, it'll get right on there. So now we just need to get our pins here through these holes. There's 2 that line up on either side. When you look at the instructions, it looks like originally these were sold with a long rod that just acted as a really long pin that went from this side to the other side. When you look up the part number though, this is what comes up. It's just 2 of these. They fit through there with a cotter pin on the other side, and this is what this had already come with when I bought it. So we'll get these fitted up on there. Now we just need to get our drive belt fitted up underneath. All right guys, so spent a bit of time right where I cut that last bit off. I was mistaken. You do need to leave those pins out while you fit the belt per the instructions. The new belt that I ordered is, as far as the numbers in the instructions, the correct belt, but it was so short, absolutely nothing I did I get it on those pulleys. So I ended up throwing the old belt on there. It is a different size, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. So I may order a new one of that size that's on there right now, just because that old belt that it came with is looking pretty rough. But really there's nothing left to do except for to go ahead and try it out now. So that's going to do it for this episode, guys. I'm really pumped to have this all hooked up. Can't wait to use it this winter. Unfortunately, we're only in May right now. I'm just glad to have this all set up and ready to go. Once winter hits and I use this, I'll be sure to release a video. I'll film it, tell you how it works, show you how it works so you can see that. But this isn't the end. We still have a little bit more work to do. I've got to tie up a few odds and ends, mainly sorting out some weight for the rear end. I need to order chains for the rear tires, and I want to add some lighting, some better lighting to this, because a lot of times I end up snow blowing at night. So be sure to look out for that next episode where we get everything finalized up. So as always, guys, if you like the video, hit the like button. Feel free to leave a comment below, and if you're not subscribed already, please go ahead and subscribe. Thanks.